I mean, doing 30,000 people in a stadium in Texas is pretty impressive. But the reason they were so successful initially was because they were offering an alternative to what had become very, very stale, a very stale product under Vince. I was saying to Eric, for years, I wouldn't even sit down and sit through an episode of Raw or SmackDown. I would just go on YouTube and find out whatever happened and just watch whatever clips looked interesting to me, and that was it. So I never fully disengaged from the product. But so AEW was filling that void, and then of course Triple H, who I wasn't surprised because I was watching NXT, because when Triple H was in charge of NXT was phenomenal. And so when Triple H got to take over full creative on the full roster, on the main roster, that was all of a sudden AEW, it's kind of like, don't really need it after all. Now that WWE is running on all cylinders again for the first time in a long time. But but I do think that AEW is a net positive for the business. I think that the wrestling business always thrives when you have competitive forces within it. The more promotions that are successful, the better, because a high tide raises all ships. Interest in wrestling, it's so strong right now. Even TNA, Jenny and I were watching a little bit of Slammiversary. That was their biggest North American crowd for Slammiversary, almost 8,000 people. I think their partnership with WWE helps drive that. But I do think AEW holds an important place in the market. And I think it's a net positive that they're around.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a net positive for AEW no matter what, because it's an alternative. And when you can go ahead and finally get your creative brains intact and actually bump heads, literally sometimes, and you go ahead and get Edge and Christian back together, that's going to generate some interest. Like, how is this rated R superstar Adam Copeland going to do with Christian Cage now that they're reunited? Interesting storyline. It drove me interest in AEW because I want to see what these two are going to go at. Right. That was the first time I heard of Spike, apparently, with that back. Just, gruesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm like, you know what? Let's see what happens. Let's see where they go from here, because they're taking a definite tag team, a formidable tag team, Hall of Fame tag team, and they're bringing it to their forefront now. Let's see how they do.
Yeah. I think so. We don't watch much AEW. Basically, if there's if they have a big event or something, there's a website, tokivideo.com, that posts the individual matches from their pay-per-views. Usually a week or two after they happen. But yeah, I think.
Are they not streaming on Max? Are their pay-per-views? I know they're streaming like Dynamite and Collision on Max, but
on Max? I don't know.
Yeah, we have
Max.
We've actually watched one of the shows on Max. We've never watched any of their PLEs on Max, but I think you're right. With all the streaming services, it gets confusing. It's hard to keep up with it all.
I'm ready to dump some.
But part of why
it's amazing, Matt. It's amazing, Matt.
Oh yeah, AEW is all over.
Cut the cord. Cut the cord, everybody. Cut the cord and go streaming. You're spending more now on streaming than you did.
I'm not. I'm actually not spending more on streaming than I was paying the cable because it was expensive.
A lot of people are, though.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are, though.
Cable is far from dead. That's for sure. Yeah, part of why we were having that conversation on Tough Bumps was Eric is much more negative on AEW than I am. Like I said, I think Cody Rhodes, his return to WWE, would not have been nearly as important and as big a deal had it not been for AEW. Even CM Punk, it still would have been a big deal, him returning to WWE, his surprise appearance at Survivor Series when he returned. But again, had it not been for AEW getting him back into the game first, I don't think it would have meant as much. I think AEW has directly benefited WWE in some ways. I really do.